I just want to step in on the pipeline thing just briefly. Liberals did approve the Trans Mountain Line 3 pipeline project. And a lot of people are saying they're disappointed, and there was no evidence that suggested otherwise, okay? It's not a surprise. They told you they were going to do it, they campaigned on it. If you thought that they weren't, then you were just imagining it. I fully expected that the battle would need to be fought on the ground. And that's what everybody that was paying attention seriously should have and mostly did think. But let's just not lose focus on the importance of fighting for positive steps towards transition, even as we continue to fight the feet dragging, the regression, the weak tea. Putting all of your focus on stopping the pipelines and winning doesn't leave us with much at the end of the day if the grid is in the same shape as it is now. If we snap our fingers and shut off the oil, all we've done is make ourselves poor. We have to focus on transition and adaptation, too. That has to be a big part of it. That has to be, in fact, the primary, major, dominant focus. Stopping the pipelines is important, and I support this. I stand in solidarity with these people. I will argue in favor of them. I will do what I can, which is not a lot, but what I can to help them. But it is more important, eminently, infinitely more important to transition than it is to stop the pipelines. And with the election of the denier-in-chief, that's just all the more apparent. Yes, this is going to require a lot of hard work to stop. But the Liberals are still the lesser evil, and it was still the right choice to put them in power, because they were the only party that was talking about putting down funds for transition. That's what's more important. We just have to make sure that those infrastructure funds get released and put to use in transitioning, even as we fight the pipelines. There is no such thing as a social license, and there's nothing that anyone can do to make it okay to build these pipelines. The NDP supported the pipelines too, but they did not have a plan for transition. Their plan was to rely on taxing dirty oil to pay for social services. What the NDP stood up and promised was that they'll tax all the oil in the world in order to pay for your child care plan. They didn't talk about transitioning off of oil. They talked about building things with the revenue from it. And that was the wrong approach. That was a 20th century approach. We need a forward-thinking approach, and that means transitioning. We made the right choice, but we have to fight on both fronts. We have to make sure that they follow through with their infrastructure promises, and we have to do everything we can to stop them from building the pipelines on the ground.